Are 71 through 73 Mustangs really that big? How about we squash this once and for all? Come on. Here we are standing at the end of the garage. You see this one's parked, it's a few inches forward of the 68. Now let's go all the way to the end. And here, you'll see they are parked right about the same, at the same spot. So here's the difference. That's how much bigger it is. That wasn't really a very scientific way of measuring cars. So don't take my word for it. Let's go online and check out some numbers. What do you think? Here's a basic rundown of the first generation, plus a new 2024 model, just so you can see how far we've come. These are all specs for base model cars, so we're talking about the lightest possible configuration for each of these models. By 1971, the Mustang was a whopping 8 inches longer than the first year, but only 2 inches longer than the previous year. The car slowly got lower as well, creating smaller greenhouses, higher belt lines, and more aerodynamic bodies. And it also got wider, creating wider tracks for better handling. Where it suffered the most was in the weight department. It gained over 500 pounds over the course of its first 6 years. Now, let's fast forward more than 50 years. The 2024 is within 1/10 of an inch of the 71's length, quite a bit taller, slightly wider, and 500 pounds heavier. That's 1,000 pounds heavier than a 65 model. Now, these specs are all for base model cars in their lightest possible configurations, like I said, so just keep that in mind. A 71 with a 351 Cleveland would weigh around the same as a 2024, and then one with a 428 would surpass that by a couple hundred pounds. Anyway, here you can see them together at scale. Here's a closer view of all these models in correct proportion to each other. Doesn't seem like the 71 is as gigantic as people say, huh? Okay, just for funsies, let's see it next to some other modern cars. Look how fat that Mini Cooper looks. The Mach-E is shorter, but looks huge compared to the classic Mustang. And the F-150 is horrendously oversized. It looks like I blew it up, but I promise you this is to scale. I mean, look at this. What in the actual is up with pickup trucks these days? But I digress. You saw the comparisons. I showed you the numbers. But for some reason, you say, they still look huge in pictures. Why? Well, simple, my dear friends. It's just an optical illusion. Angles matter. Look at this one. Low angle with the nose very prominent. Looks fairly large in this picture. Now let's take the same car and the same guy and look at it from a different perspective. Seems a lot smaller now, doesn't it? Again, it's all visual. Okay, so we're back in the garage. Look how tall this car is. Right up to here. So right to Donald's mouth. Now this one, a little bit lower than that. However, let's compare the greenhouses. Look how small this one is. Windowsill reaches right about here. This one, this low. So you have a huge greenhouse on the earlier models versus a very small one on this model. So the top looks smaller, the bottom looks bigger. This one, pretty well proportioned. So this looks way, way smaller compared to this thing. And for my final comparison, and a better view than close-ups in the garage, here's another 68 and a 71, both to scale next to a 6-foot person. See what I mean? All right, so just a quick side note. I did not compare the 71 Mustang with other 70s pony cars. But we do have to keep in mind that everything blew up in the beginning of the 70s. You know, safety equipment, smog equipment, everything just added to the cars. So the Mustang wasn't the only one that grew. Let's take, for example, the Camaro. The Mustang's rival, the Camaro, was praised at the time as one of the most beautiful cars. And it was also larger than the previous Camaros. It was only half an inch shorter than the Mustang. And it was actually heavier than the Mustang. So, just a little food for thought. Anyway, that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions or comments, or want to correct me on anything that I got wrong, just make sure you comment below. And like this video and all that good stuff. Catch you guys next time.